Late at night, the neighborhood has gone quiet. The porch light casts faint shadows across the trees, and the world outside your window seems completely still. You're drifting in and out of sleep when suddenly, a strange sound breaks the silence. Maybe it's a deep call echoing from somewhere in the darkness. Maybe it's a series of eerie notes that almost sound like a distant voice. In that moment, your imagination comes alive. Something is out there. Something is awake while the rest of the world sleeps. Most people assume these nighttime sounds are nothing more than random noises from nature, but the truth is far more fascinating. Right in the backyard you see every day, another world comes to life after sunset. When people lock their doors and turn off the lights, birds begin conversations that can travel across fields, forests, and neighborhoods. They call to mates, defend territories, warn of danger, and stay connected through a language that has existed for millions of years. Tonight, we're going to decode 8 of the most common and mysterious bird sounds heard after dark. And by the end of this video, you may never listen to the night the same way again. The first sound many Americans may hear after dark comes from one of the sky's quietest hunters, the great horned owl. You may never see it. It may be perched high in an oak tree, on the roof of an old shed, or hidden in the dark edge of the yard. But when that deep, hollow call rolls through the night, the entire backyard seems to change. People often describe the rhythm as, "Who's awake? Me too." It sounds mysterious, almost intentional. Most people assume owls only call when they are hunting, but the truth is much more layered. For a great horned owl, a nighttime call can mark territory, attract a mate, or keep contact with its partner. During the colder months, when many other birds have gone quiet, owl pairs begin their conversations in the dark. One distant call may be answered by another, lower and closer, as if the whole neighborhood is holding a conversation humans were never meant to fully understand. What many people don't realize is that when you hear an owl near your window, it is not just a sound, it is a statement. This place is occupied. The trees, rooftops, lawns, and even the air above your backyard may all belong to an invisible map the owl knows by heart. But not every nighttime bird sound is slow and deep like an owl's call. There is another sound that can feel even stranger, a non-stop song that keeps changing again and again, as if dozens of different birds are awake at the same time. That may be the northern mockingbird. If you have ever lain awake in the middle of the night listening to a bird singing under a streetlight, there is a good chance it was a male mockingbird. He may imitate the songs of other birds, car alarms, insects, and even artificial sounds from the neighborhood. But why sing when the rest of the world is asleep? Often, it is an unmated male. In the quiet darkness, his voice can travel farther, clearer, and with less competition. Every phrase he sings is like a musical calling card, saying, "I am healthy, I have territory, I know many songs, and I am worth noticing." What feels like an interruption to your sleep may actually be a performance full of hope. Out there, under the pale moonlight, a small bird is using every song he knows just to be heard. If nighttime bird sounds have ever kept you awake, give this video a like. And if you enjoy the quiet mysteries of nature around your home, subscribe to the channel so we can keep exploring the hidden world unfolding right outside your window. But some nighttime sounds do more than make you curious. They can make you sit up in bed, hold your breath, and wonder whether you just heard a bird or something else entirely. One of the most misunderstood nighttime sounds comes from the eastern screech owl. Its name makes many people imagine a sharp, piercing scream, but in reality, the voice of this small owl is far stranger. Sometimes, it sounds like the soft whinny of a tiny horse somewhere in the distance. Other times, it becomes a long, trembling trill, like a note slowly dissolving into the dark. If you hear that sound at 2 in the morning from a shadowy line of trees outside your window, your imagination can easily turn it into something frightening. But to the owl, it is not random noise. It is a way to stay in contact, call to a mate, or communicate around a nesting area. In spring, when many birds enter breeding season, those eerie trills can become a regular part of the night. Then there is another sound, one that may not come from your backyard at all, but from wide, cold, dark lakes. It belongs to the common loon. If the screech owl makes the night feel strange, the loon makes it feel ancient. Its long wail carries across the water like a memory from the wild, and its trembling laugh, called a tremolo, can sound almost unhinged, as if the darkness over the lake has suddenly come alive. But these sounds have clear meanings. The wail helps loons locate one another across large bodies of water. The tremolo often appears when they are alarmed or disturbed. To us, it may sound haunting. To the bird, it is a survival signal. And just when you think strange nighttime sounds only come from deep woods or lonely lakes, a steady metallic tapping begins at 4 in the morning, right above your house. That may be a woodpecker. Many people assume woodpeckers only tap on trees to find insects, but sometimes they choose gutters, metal chimneys, or light poles for a very different reason. Those surfaces carry sound farther. For a woodpecker, drumming is not only a feeding tool, it can also be a natural loudspeaker used to claim territory and attract a mate. The noise that annoys you before sunrise may actually be the neighborhood's first morning announcement, delivered by a resident with a beak instead of a microphone. On some nights, the sound outside your window does not come from a bird perched in your yard. It comes from high above your roof, from wings you will almost never see as they move through the darkness. If you have ever heard short, thin, high-pitched calls drifting down from the night sky, they may have come from migrating songbirds. They do not land on your fence. They do not visit your feeder. And by morning, there may be no sign they were ever there. But while you were asleep, they passed over your neighborhood like secret travelers. What many people never realize is that many small birds migrate at night. The air is cooler, predators are fewer, and the stars, horizon, and Earth's magnetic field can help guide them. But while flying through darkness, they still need to stay connected. Those brief calls overhead are like tiny questions within the flock. Are you still there? Are we still moving the right way? To us, the sound may be only a small note in the dark. But to the birds, it may be the thin thread holding them together on a journey that can stretch for hundreds, even thousands of miles. And from a sound that almost disappears the moment you notice it, we move to something completely different, louder, clearer, and sometimes so chaotic that it can make people laugh out of confusion. That is the barred owl. If the great horned owl has a deep voice that feels like an echo from the forest, the barred owl has a much more famous phrase, "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" At night, that call may come from the edge of the woods, a park, or a neighborhood with tall, old trees. But the strange part does not end there. Sometimes, a pair of barred owls will begin calling back and forth, and the sound turns into a wild mix of hoots, cackles, cries, and strange laughter, almost as if a group of creatures is celebrating in the dark. To someone hearing it for the first time, it can feel unsettling. To someone who knows what it is, it becomes one of the most lively performances of the night. Those calls often have to do with territory and the bond between a pair. They are not only saying, "I am here," they are saying, "We are here, together, and this small piece of woods belongs to us." Just beyond the quiet fences, while bedroom lights are turned off, stories like these continue to echo through the night. And as the night begins to fade, when the sky behind the rooftops turns from black to soft gray blue, another sound often rises quietly. It is not as powerful as an owl. It is not as chaotic as migrating birds. It does not startle you like tapping on a metal gutter. It is the voice of the mourning dove. 5 low, gentle notes, soft and sorrowful, almost like a sigh drifting into the morning air. Many people hear it for the first time and assume it must be an owl. But in truth, that haunting sound comes from one of the most familiar birds in American neighborhoods, often perched on a wire, a fence, or a nearby rooftop. The mourning dove's call belongs to the thin line between night and day. It does not rush. It does not demand attention. It simply rises like a quiet reminder that nature has been awake long before us. And strangely, inside that sad-sounding call, there is life. A bird is calling to a mate. A new day is beginning. And just outside your window, that hidden world is still speaking in its own ancient language. So the next time you hear a strange sound in the dark, do not dismiss it as random noise. It may be a message. Have you ever heard any of these sounds before? Share your story in the comments. And if you love the quiet mysteries of nature around your home, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.